for crypto in America, frankly. And speaking as someone who tried to launch a project and worked really hard to get it off the ground here at home and having it shut down by the US government, to having conversations about regulatory clarity of Bitcoin strategic reserve, and really doing whatever it takes, frankly, for America to lead in this revolution that will completely rewire our whole financial system, is quite a polarity flip of atmosphere and energy for our entire industry. So, I'm very, very happy and excited for what's coming. I think we're very close to the precipice when it comes to falling behind here, and so it's really amazing to.
Well, what does
see.
the strategic reserve do, in your mind?
Well, look,
besides push up the price of Bitcoin.
Well, I think, first of all, if you look at the strategic reserves that the U.S. government holds in gold, we're the number one holder of gold in the world. And arguably, if you think of Bitcoin as a better version of gold, digital gold, why not allocate a portion of that reserve or rebalance a portion of that reserve to the better version? And I think, there's just a lot more opportunity for growth and appreciation of Bitcoin than gold in the next couple of decades. So I think it's a wise decision, potentially. That would be, in my opinion, a first good step. The U.S. government has been selling on the market seized Bitcoin as part of law enforcement activities. And I think that as a first step, like not selling the seized Bitcoin would be a good conservative baby step in the right direction.
And there is an argument to be made that if Bitcoin becomes truly, a global currency, if you will, and I don't know how much of a global currency it becomes, or you think it becomes more like gold, but if it were to be a currency, you could argue that it's actually a national security threat, that it's actually against the interests of the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, I hear that argument, but I think, the point is that Bitcoin is not a very good unit of account or currency because it's volatile in nature. Our goods and services are denominated in dollars. And so I don't see Bitcoin threatening the supremacy of the dollar as a unit of account. And so I think that point is not real, frankly.
David, I thought if you succeed, meaning what your company specifically does, which is trying to build these rails that actually let it be a currency to some degree, right? I mean, if you succeed, doesn't that make it more of a currency?
No, actually, because the way that we use Bitcoin at Lightspark to build an open money grid for the world is really to use Bitcoin in the background as small fragments of Bitcoin traveling in real time on the internet as a neutral settlement asset between fiat currencies, and with the support of stablecoin coming up at the end of this month, actually, on top of Bitcoin for the first time. And so, we don't intend to actually enable consumers or businesses to use Bitcoin as the main unit of account for transactions. We just want to interoperate domestic real-time payment systems and ensure that they can actually move value between one another with a better system than SWIFT and correspondent banking that moves $5 trillion a day, 50 years plus after it was invented, and running on archaic rails and T+2 and all of those issues that we know.
David, what do you make of the president's family's role and ownership of various crypto assets? You saw his son recently endorsed Ether. The family has, projects on ETH. Do you think the public should be concerned about that?
Well, look, I think the president is running the country. I think his family should have the right to pursue their own economic interests and activities. And, I think David Sachs framed it well that, those types of assets, the meme coins, are more like collectibles. And, if you have a strong brand and you want to attach it to a collectible, why not do that? But that's not my area of interest particularly. I'm more interested in leveraging the technology that Bitcoin is to build an open payment system for the world and really build utility with the technology rather than trading assets.
A decade or so that I've been coming to your events, that makes me nervous. I think to follow up on Kelly's point, when I hear 79%, everybody seems excited. That's great. But when I hear the cash level's the lowest since right before the financial crisis, I'm not sure that's great. Is the exuberance, to coin a phrase, irrational?
So that's what makes our meeting so exciting, because the majority of our members are exuberant, but many have lived through the problems we're talking about. You know, if you look at the Russell 3000 from last year, 46% of the companies lost money. Only the average would have been a 3% return. It's the Magnificent Seven that distorted or obscured. So when you have that kind of diversion or dispersion, sometimes that's a harbinger of some concerns ahead.
What else jumped out to you from kind of what they're doing lately?
You know, obviously, the areas of digital currencies remain really exciting. We have some members who are all in. It's become a gold substitute. Gold isn't an inflation hedge. It's an instability hedge. There's a lot of instability around the world, and people think that in America they're concerned about it. But if you live in Argentina or Lebanon or any of countries that are under risk, Bitcoin is taking on a new role. So we have about 1 to 3% of 200 billion in assets, so about 6 billion in assets in digital currencies.
And regular gold, because I do a speech, I talk for about a half an hour, and then I take questions for about a half an hour. And a lot of the questions this year were about Bitcoin, they were about gold, they were about debts and deficits. I would say it's interesting that the data, the 79% number doesn't belie. There is an underlying nervousness, and I think it's, by the way, warranted. And if you start and build a company from scratch, as a lot of your members have, there's a natural level of nervousness, right? One of the best business books I've ever read is called Only the Paranoid Survive by Andy Grove, who founded the then great Intel.
Then great.
Well, that's a different topic.
Yeah.
But I think it's right to be a little paranoid all the time.
So gold is for traditionalists and Bitcoin is a little new age, but they often play the same role. They're perceived as storehouses of value that are not subject to government fiat. When you get out of that, when you have a truly global market like that, people feel like there's some real refuge there to be.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have David Marcus from LightSpark. If anyone remembers, he helped start the crypto adoption. Facebook, Libra, then went to Diem. And he stated politics killed the project. And we know a lot of projects fell by the wayside. But remember, that was all part of the plan. And now he says that regulatory clarity is coming. And these digital assets are going to change the whole financial system. And we know that is a fact. And he talks about the Bitcoin reserve, saying that the seized crypto can be held instead of sold. But we know the Fed is not going to be buying Bitcoin. Not when they can get it for free. And is Bitcoin a currency? If we read the white paper, we know for a fact Bitcoin is a currency and it could have scaled. And these fiat currencies died during the C word. That's the reason why they're moving everything over to this digital economy. Right now, currencies are already digital anyway. But with smart contracts, they make them programmable. And he states that SWIFT has an old system. But guys, we know SWIFT has implemented all this technology. We know Chainlink gives SWIFT the all-seeing eye. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And he talks about Trump's meme coins and says he's the president. He has the right to invest. But we know Trump is there to push adoption. Trump is the salesperson. He has 4 years to land the United States in its fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. An AI burst on the scene about 2 years ago. And we see the algorithm sending the Magnificent Seven all the money. And these small caps are taking a beating. The small caps are not going to get any relief until the Fed gets into a rate cutting cycle. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we had Bitcoin and crypto move up every 4 years because that came from all this liquidity, all this money printing. So it's definitely not because the sheep are invested. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have self-driving semi-trucking. Kodiak is on the road. And look at the investors, the same players. And it was founded in 2018, and we know 10 years is the manifestation period, which lands us in the fourth industrial revolution. So we know all this technology is behind the curtain, and all we need is that crisis to bring all this technology to you. The same thing we saw during the C word. They already have ran the simulations, and we have AI making it easier to find metals. AI is always a solution. Anytime you have a problem, AI is the solution. And we have cybersecurity and privacy, guys, is definitely going to be the new gold. And we know that big hack is coming. And we have Elon's Doge is moving fast. But then also, guys, we see the Hegelian dialectic being played. But Doge is going to put a lot of people out of work, because the United States dollar is going to lose that world reserve currency, and we're going to a level playing field. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And betting on the Super Bowl, while Americans are watching a football game, we see America to Babylon is falling. Free circuits, free bread. It is unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up. And guys, remember, history. 100 years from now, the kids are going to ask, why didn't they do anything? Because they were distracted on things that didn't matter. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows, when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Well, Kodiak's Robotruck is a revolution in the way goods are moved. So as you said, there's no longer a driver in the cab. These trucks are moving completely on their own. This has been promised for over a decade, and now it's finally here, and it's being deployed in production. These trucks can go to where the owner tells it to go. So we work with a customer called Atlas Energy Solutions, and they have an interface that they can say, go pick up goods here, go drop it off there, and they're moving sand for Atlas out in West Texas.
But not on the highways. Like, I'm not going to drive down the highway. These are not approved on the highways yet, I imagine.
Not yet. So the technology is effectively the same as what we use on the highway. We actually work with a bunch of great companies for highway delivery as well. There we still have a safety driver. We're working with folks like JB Hunt and Warner Enterprises and IKEA. And so the technology is right around the corner. It'll be on the highways before you know it.
Now, so which technology? There's LiDAR, and what's the other one? And this is the whole fight between, Tesla and Waymo, right?
Yeah, so we use the more of the Waymo sensor suite approach. We have camera, we have LiDAR, we have radar. That we think that those sensors all have really important strengths to actually keep the truck safe. For instance, out in the desert, there's a lot of dust. Radar sees right through that dust, and so it's a very powerful sensor. But we have an end-to-end AI solution that's powering this system. It really is state-of-the-art, and it's able to drive in a variety of diverse environments, including over the road on the highway, surface streets, and then, as you see here, off-road environments.
Who created and developed that self-driving technology? Is it you guys, or is it a third party?
That's our core business. We are the creators of the AI software that does the driver. So the one significant thing about this announcement is that it's the first time a customer is actually owning and operating the vehicle. So we're not running the assets like other autonomous fleets that you might know of. We purely work on the AI software. That's our proprietary.
Electric cars, solar panels, hydrogen fuel cells, they all have one common denominator. They need precious metals, like palladium, for catalytic converters. That's why as those clean energy industries grow, companies like Cobalt Metals, Vare AI, and a startup called Earth AI are in a race to get those metals to market as soon as possible. Earth AI combines AI-powered mineral discovery software with proprietary drilling technology. Their data goes back 50 years.
Saying about the current environment for cybersecurity?
Well, overall, I would say the demand environment is very healthy for cyber. I think it's fair to say we have a heightened threat environment. Malicious activity is on the rise. We've all seen the headlines about Salt Typhoon and the attacks on U.S. telcos, and even more recently, attacks on the Treasury Department. And the fact is we've become a very digital society. There's no turning back. There's been a proliferation of connected systems, assets, devices, and even data. So all of that has expanded the attack surface for customers, and it's made organizations difficult in managing and assessing their cyber risk.
Story about Elon Musk and his efforts to hollow out the U.S. government. He seems to be pretty effective.
Well, he's certainly found out everywhere, isn't he? And with his Doge associates. But, what we're hearing, obviously, is that so far about 40,000 government employees are saying they will take that buyout offer. But remember that about 60,000 retire every year anyway. It's 2% of the civilian workforce there. So are these people who were probably looking maybe to retire anyway or looking at different, and they're taking that as an opportunity? Are you losing people who are going to go anyway? Or are you losing the people who were really smart and you want to keep them somehow in the organization to some extent? So it'll be interesting to see more of that unfold, exactly who's involved and what that does to the workforce. But obviously, he's in everything. He's looking in the treasury, in the payment system, looking perhaps at some of the payments that are made out of Medicaid, some of the contracts that are there. So this is just the beginning. He's very, very busy. The question again is, how deep does this go? How much does this shift the budget responsibility in a way over to Elon Musk and out of Congress? And for Bessent too, as the Treasury Secretary, how is their relationship going to unfold? Do we see divisions opening between them potentially about how this goes?
New Orleans is bustling. America's sportsbooks are betting that the wagering this year will set another record. The American Gaming Association estimates $1.39 billion will be bet legally on Sunday's game. Last year, when they gave the estimate, it was more than $23 billion because they wrapped up office pools, the illegal bookies, the offshore operators. That means that really sportsbooks are facing an intense field of competition for gambling dollars. So when you look at this year, you have Kalshi and Crypto.com offering those prediction market trades. Robinhood just this week yanked its offers on the big game. Plus, there are sweepstakes-style gambling and fantasy sports, all offering bettors a way to add a little additional excitement to the big game. I actually talked to Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes about whether the boom in gambling is good for the game.
It gets people watching. I think that's good for the sport. But at the end of the day, I want people to realize that it's a game that you play on the playground for recess. And the stuff that you just go out there and give everything you love. And I think that's what we try to do on the football field. And I think that's everybody on that football field.
Going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe
This technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, well, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're going to get more right now with Bloomberg's Sonali Basak. Sonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, if new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.